of poor ECS instance management. Here in the previous slide, I mentioned about the parameters you need to consider when you manage the ECS instances. If you fail, you are going to have a lot of security vulnerabilities. You may have a cost overrun. Maybe it may go beyond your budget, or it may have like a lot of people, they buy the cloud resources and they will say like it is consuming a lot of money. But definitely, if it is managed in a proper way, if it is configured in the right way, you're not going to cross your budget. Definitely, you can consult with your solution architect or whoever expertise with your team, and then you can manage the ECS instances properly. But you need to have your right information on how to manage this. So if you don't have the proper ECS instance management, you can lead to data loss, or even it can lead to some kind of compliance issues. And next, we have the factors which will lead to the mismanagement. What are the factors it will go ahead in terms of poor ECS instance management? We have the misconfigurations. That means like instead of having some kind of 100 gigabyte of storage, you may go for like a higher storage. It may cost you a lot. And then we have insecure APIs and poor access management. So these are the different factors that may lead to poor ECS instance management. And along with this, we have like some other parameters as well. We have like consequences of the poor instance management, like what are the things you are going to face. Firstly, you may go with some compliance issues that will lead to legal penalties, and thereby you will have some reputation damage, like you may maybe due to some data breaches that will lead to some service disruptions. Ultimately, there is a lot of financial losses when it is going with poor ECS instance management. So these are all some of the parameters you need to keep in mind while deciding on the poor ECS instance management. And next, we are going to see about the overall ECS instance management. So in the overview, we have three things to look after. The first is the ECS instance themselves, and next is the images, and then about the block storage. When it comes to the ECS instances, it is a virtual server. It will include the basic components like the virtual CPU's memory. Then it is like having like some kind of parameters like the RAM, and then the operating system and the network components, like the network configurations associated with these components, and the disk. Now coming to the images. So ECS images are like a basic template which is used to create ECS instances, and then it can contain the operating system and also some pre-configured data. Or in case you create an ECS instance today and you install some softwares, it took 3 hours to install, for example. It is something like a complicated software, and tomorrow all the softwares will be preloaded. All the configurations you made in the previous instance will be loaded in the new instance. So here you can save a lot of time. Within few seconds you can create it with the other instance with all the softwares you have created in that image. Next, in the overview, we see like with the block storage. So in the block storage, it is having like a high performance, low latency, which is powered by Alibaba Cloud's ECS service. So these are the three parameters comes into our mind. Apart from this, we have like some more parameters. We have the snapshot network and the security groups. So snapshots are like for disaster recovery. So this is after the creation of ECS instance, we keep taking the backup. and the backup will be like on a daily basis or a particular timely basis. And then we keep a copy of all data. So in case if there is any mishap, you can retrieve the data through the snapshots, and then we can have the network for like using the virtual private cloud. This will allow to create a custom virtual network. In Alibaba Cloud VPCs, they are logically isolated with each other. That means you can create one VPC and put an ECS inside, and then you create another VPC, and in that one you can have another ECS instance. These two, unless they are connected with each other, they cannot communicate with each other. And finally, we have the security groups. So the security groups is actually like a virtual firewall that will manage the inbound and the outbound traffic of all the ECS instances within that particular VPC. And in this part, we are going to see about the architecture of the ECS in a particular region. So in the architecture, you can have a VPC, and the VPC network can span across the whole region. If you create a VPC in Singapore, it covers all the zone. So like we have the zone A, B, and C. All these zones are loaded into the VPC network, and in the region, we have like the ECS instances which are connected with the cloud disk or the local disk, and in the region X or in another in the same region or with this another zone of another data center, we can have another ECS instance. So these regions or zones can communicate with each other, but then we have something called security group. The security group has to be given for the ECS instances. At least one security group should impact one ECS instance, and then we have the snapshots based on the cloud disk and the images based on the ECS instances. So this is what we see in the ECS architecture. This is what happens when you just create an ECS instance and then do the initial configurations of the snapshots and the imaging. So then we have the types of the instances and the storage types. That's what we are going to see in the next topic. So stay tuned for the next topic. For that, we are going to see. Now we have learned about different effects of what happens with the poor ECS instance management. Now we need to know what are the different types of ECS instances and in what cases we use those ECS instances. And then there are like a lot of storage options. For these storage options, we need to know on what kind of storage we need to use and for what scenarios we have to bring them in and configure. So firstly, we see what is an ECS instance. So an ECS instance is a virtual computing environment which will have a virtual machine, of course. It will include a normal CPU and then a memory storage and some other fundamental components which are required to run the modern operating system. So this ECS instance is divided into like 4 different categories. The burstable types T6, general type G6, memory type R6, and the compute optimized type C6. With this, we go into the different types of ECS. We have like these kind of nomenclatures. So how to get into this taxonomy? So we have this ECS, this is the product, and then we have this G6. In this G6, we have the letter G. That means it belongs to the general type. And the 6 in this G6 refers to the generation. Currently, ECS is having the generation G6, G7, G8 and G9. And then it has the instance types which mentions like 3x large over here. So this is corresponding to the configuration. Let's imagine the number of core CPUs. If it is just large, it is 2 vCPUs. If it is X large, it is 4 vCPUs. If it is 2X large, it is 8 vCPUs. If it is 3X large, it is 12 vCPUs. So this is how we have the instance type. Now we have the CPU based computing instance families. we have the basic and the enterprise instance families. If you don't have a very high workload, you just need to run some static web pages or like some normal website, you can definitely go for the light workload with the T6 and the S6. Again, what is this T6 and S6? We have the burstable type T6. So then we have the enterprise instance family, where we have the general purpose and the compute intensive workload. So these are used for like the web applications, and in case for the web applications you need to work a lot with the big data. So then we have the big data instances like the D2S and D1NE, and then we need to have like the high memory applications. So these are needed when we have like more number of users are flocking into the server. Mostly we use these high memory applications. And then we have the input output intensive applications. We go with the I2 and I2G. And then we have high clock speed applications. So these are like for the basic CPU based instances. Next, we have some special instances. We call them as the scientific computing applications. And also we have the ECS bare metal instances. And apart from this, we have something called as the heterogeneous computing. So these heterogeneous computing deals with the ECS instances which require some extra hardware support for its proper function, or like to enhance the function. If you go for developing an AI application, you need to do some AI training, creation of AI models. Definitely you need to have a GPU. So we have the heterogeneous computing system which can go with the GPUs of VGN6i, GN6i, and GN6V. And then we have the FPGA boards like the F3. So these are used as like the extra dedicated hardware that can be added along with the ECS instances to increase the computing power. Next, we see what is an ECS image. So this is like a ECS instances which has like a complete runtime, which has like the operating system, the required software, and also the system configurations that can be used to boost an ECS instance. Essentially, an image is a snapshot of the system disk of an ECS instance. So here we have the public image. So these are like the operating systems which are officially provided by Alibaba Cloud, which includes Windows operating system of the server version and also the various Linux versions available. And in case if you want to have pre-installed softwares to be loaded based on some marketplace images, you can go for the marketplace image. So these are like the services pre-installed, usually for like designing some kind of use cases. Like you want to have your WordPress, but you don't have the time to install the WordPress, you can go to the marketplace and take the image with the WordPress. And once you run the instance, it will automatically initialize with the installation of WordPress. You don't need to do any other configurations. And then we have the custom image. For instance, I created some application and I connected some APIs to the Telegram bot or anything like that I have created. I can create a custom image, and later, if I want to load all these configurations and the softwares I loaded in my image to be loaded in the new ECS instance, you can create a custom image, and that custom image can be loaded into the new ECS instances. And these can be typically used with the scaling groups as well. Lastly, we have the shared image. I mentioned in the custom image, I create some images, right? In case you saw some application which I created, and then you wanted that image from me. So you asked me to share that image with you. So I will collect your account UID and share that image. It will be available in your account. Easy. So you can share the instances, images along with multiple groups or people. So that's what we call as shared image. Or sometimes I like some configurations which you have made in your ECS instance. So then in that case, I will give you my account UID, then you will be sharing it to me, then I will get an access. So like this, we share and care about the ECS instances. And next, what is the benefits when it comes to the marketplace and the custom images? So if you don't have the marketplace or custom image, Firstly, we purchase the ECS instance. We do the normal procedure on how to create an ECS instance. Finally, we need to have a WordPress, right? So you need to install Nginx server in that separately. Install PHP, MySQL, and then the WordPress. All these softwares, it will take some time. And then we have the configuration and the setup. This will definitely take at least 40 minutes to 1 hour. But if you have the images in the marketplace or the custom images, you just choose the image which you need along with the OS, runtime environment, and the packages which are pre-installed, and then you purchase the instance with the chosen image. It will just go with just a few minutes, like let's say 2 minutes or 3 minutes. You will be able to load the images and you will be able to have all the softwares installed. You don't need to do the installations and you don't need to do the configurations either. And with this knowledge, I want to check how active you have been in my class. So I have a question. So my question is, an ECS image is commonly defined as a basic template for creating ECS instance because it contains what? I will give you some time. Please type in your answers in the chat box. Let's see how many of you get the right answers. It's pretty easy. If you have listened to my class, you might be knowing the answers. It's pretty easy. Please give a try. Let me open the answer now. We are getting some answers. Let's see. The right answer is operating system and the pre-configured data. So this is the correct answer. So if you want to define the ECS image, it will have the operating system and also the pre-configuration data all inside. So when you load it, it will come along with the OS and the pre-configured data. So this is all about the ECS instances. Next, we are going to know about the networking configurations and the lifecycle management. Let's get started with that one. Now we have the networking configurations and the lifecycle management. In this part, we will see on how we can do a proper networking with the ECS instances and then how we can manage the lifecycle. What is a lifecycle? It's from the creation and the deletion of the ECS instance. It's like a life between birth and death. We have the lifecycle management of ECS, which goes from the creation of the ECS instance until deletion of the ECS instance. This is what we are going to see. So in this, we need to know about three concepts. These three major concepts are very essential when it comes to ECS instance. Virtual private cloud. So this will create a logically isolated section of the cloud where you can launch the resources and you can store the ECS instances inside this VPC. This will allow you to define or own your IP address range, subnets, routing tables, and also the network gateways. And next we have the security groups. Each ECS instance should definitely have at least one security group. You cannot create an instance without a security group. And this security group will act like a virtual firewall and you can control the inbound and outbound traffic. You can specify whether you want to allow or deny a particular port or a protocol, and then you can manage it for all the traffic incoming and outgoing. So we have specified with the virtual private cloud and the security groups. And finally, if the instance is not given with a public IP address or an elastic IP address, it is not going to get connected with the internet. It is going to be inside the VPC in that particular data center alone. So we need to associate an elastic IP address for the ECS instance also. And next, we are going to see a demo. So in this, we are going to create a VPC in Singapore with the V switches in Zone B and the Zone C. And later, we will create an ECS instance in the Zone B. And then we associate an elastic IP address and then connect the ECS instance with the internet. And finally, we will see on how to start, stop, and restart the ECS instances. So these are the things we are going to see in the demo. So let's go into the console for this. Now let's do the demo. We have gone to the Alibaba Cloud console and we have logged in, and getting into the console, you just go on to the right hand side. You see this icon over here, and then we have this console. So just click on to this console over here. So here we get into the account. So we get like the product catalog view and everything. We need to go into the this is the new version, so where we have this my favorites over here and all those things. But in case if you want to create a VPC, firstly we can go to this recent visits, or like you can go to this 3 lines. So this 3 lines is actually like the way you can usually access all the products easily. So I search as VPC, and then I have this virtual private cloud over here. You can choose anywhere. You just click on virtual private cloud. Now I need to create one is a VPC. So I go to this left hand side, I click on to this VPC. I will create a VPC now. The region I have to select, I will select it as Singapore, because that is what we saw in the scenario. I give a name for this VPC. You can give any name. Let's say I will give it like ECS master. And then the CIDR block you can manually enter, or like we can have like the CIDR block which is automatically allocated. I will choose one of these 3. So I just go with this 10.0.0. I use this one, and then I need to make 3 vSwitches for each zone, right? So I will name it like VS ECS A, and then I select it for this zone A, and then I have to change this configuration of this IP address, then go for the next one, VS ECS B, and then I choose the zone as Singapore zone B, and then I modify this number. So the modification of this number is because we should not have the conflict in the IP address. So I give again the same number. You see the CIDR block will overlap. So I give a different number. I go for this 2, and then I go for the next one, VSECS C, and then I select the zone as Singapore zone C, and then I give 3 over here, and then I click on to OK. Before clicking on to OK, I show you this architecture preview which is shown here. So here it will show like the VPC is created, and it has like a 1 vSwitch in each in the zones. Singapore zone A has 1, zone B has 1, zone C has 1. So all these things we specify, and then we click on to OK. It is creating the VPC. Now it is all successful. So as a result of this, we have created the VPC. So we see the VPC. The VPC name is ECS master. That is what you need to remember when you create the ECS instance. Now we need to go to the console of ECS. So the same thing, we go into these 3 lines, and then we search as ECS. We have this elastic compute service in the cloud server. Click onto this. Now I need to create an ECS instance in the zone B. I click on create instance. Then we enter into this console. So here we have like 3 different billing methods. In what scenarios we can use? If you are just using for 1 hour or 2 hours, you can go for this preemptible instance. So that will be having like a cost of like 0.02. And then we have pay as you go. So the pay as you go is like around 0.08, slightly expensive than this preemptible. So if you have like a very small consumption, like very small requirement, like less than an hour or something like that, you can go for preemptible instance, because it will charge you for the preemptible instance price for like 1 hour or 2 hour, and later it will start charging you with the pay as you go. And pay as you go, how many ever hours you use, it will charge you for hourly basis the same price. So here it mentions as pay as you go, it says like 0.08. So it will take that cost for how many ever hours you go. But in case you have a longer usage, you go for more than a month or more than a year or even more than 2 weeks, it's better to go with the subscription. So here we have like some kind of calculations we can make. Let me open my calculator. So I will show you a small calculation with a basic calculator. So here I will search calculator. Okay, so here I'm going to select how much hours I'm going to use. So the cost of the instance per hour is like 0.08761. So I can copy this one. So I will go for a very simple calculation. 0.087, let's say, or like 6. Okay, fine. This is for an hour. Multiplied by 24 hours equals $2.06 per hour. And then if it is for 2 weeks, multiplied by 14 equals 28. And I multiply it by another 2. You get it like 57.792. So if you use pay as you go for a month, it is not that cost efficient, because if you see here, we go into the subscription mode, it will give for 1 month cost is like around $45. So this is for China Hangzhou region. But for Singapore region, we have a different pricing. So you go to the Singapore, it says $66. For the Singapore, pay as you go, it costs like around 0.1011. Let's say I will take it like 0.1011. Let's say 0.101 multiplied by 24 equals 2.4 multiplied by 30 equals 72. So you get $72 for like pay as you go for a month. But in the case of subscription, you will get like around 66.54. So this is the cost efficiency you can make. You have to decide how much time you need to use and what is the minimum pricing you can go ahead with. So another way you can go with a calculator is that we have something called as Alibaba cloud calculator, pricing calculator. So you can scroll down and see from the Alibaba cloud website, we have this pricing calculator. So you can choose this one to find out the pricing. So here we have the pricing calculator. We have to choose for the elastic compute service for Singapore. Let's say I will choose Singapore, and the instance type. For different types of instances you can go with. For 4 vCPU, and then we can select like the RAM and then the instance type or whatever. I just go for like this economy type E or like the compute optimized. You can see how much it costs. And then for the operating system and the system disk, you can change these things. So you can go for this Alibaba cloud pricing calculator and see how much it will cost for you. So similarly, you can try the pricing for different types of products. So that's about the pricing. Okay, now we need to choose the VPC where we need to reside this on. we select the VPC, the one which we recently created. I choose this ECS master one, and then the zone, I need to, according to the scenario in the presentation, we need to go in the zone B. So I choose the zone B vSwitch, that is selected, and then I need to choose the instance type. I didn't get any specification of what type of ECS instance I need. I will go with the general purpose G7, and you can see the pricing it mentions is 66.54, but this instance I will use it for like another 4-5 hours. So I will go with the pay as you go because my commitment is short. That's why I go with the pay as you go. And then I need to choose the image, so I can go with the public image. So here I need to choose Ubuntu. Ubuntu will be available here. So you see here Ubuntu, and then we have to select a version. I select the latest version. It provides a free security hardening also. And then for the system disk, you can see like by default you will get like 40 GB. And in case if you want to increase, let's say you will go with the 100 GB. So for 40 GB configuration, you will have this instance price, right? So let's say if you change it to 100 GB, so you will have like a little bit more increased price. Instead of 40, I go with the 20 GB. You will have like a lesser price than it quoted, right? So it's that simple. Like you need to decide what you need and how you need it. And then you can even add the disk here in case if you need to have more storage capacity. And then we have the bandwidth and the security groups. So if you assign the public IPv4, it will have the internet access, but you can have like either public IPv4 or you can have a EIP. So you can have both. And then we need to have a security group. So we don't have any security group for this VPC which we have created. So we create a basic security group by allowing the HTTP and the HTTPS. That is what very crucial for the internet. And then we have the custom password we create. So you can have the key pair, we can select the key pair which you want, or you can go with the custom password, or you can set it later for the root and the ECS user. So for the logon password, you have like these are the different parameters you need to have. The password must be like 8 to 30 characters, and it should have lowercase, uppercase, digits, and even like the special characters. So you need to have a mix of all these. So I'm going to type in my password. So I have typed some letters. Then it says like I have the lowercase and uppercase, and then I give a special character. It shows that I am doing the special character, and then I give a number. It says like I have satisfied all these parameters, and then I give the password again. So then it is matching, perfect enough. So then in case if you want to give a name for the ECS instance, go to this additional advanced settings and rename this one launch advisor. So I mention it like ECS master class. So this is the name I give, and then the remaining you can specify the and you can create to delete this instance by a particular timing. Then you can click on to set automatic release time, and then you can specify that. And now I click on to create order. Now my ECS instance is getting created. I go to the console. Now you see it is getting created. So now it is running. Whether we can start, it will not be successful now because it is starting the ECS instances operating system. So we have to wait for a little bit time until this operating system is initiated. So once the ECS instance operating system is initiated, then we don't need to worry. Now we need to connect this to the internet, right? So for that we have to go to EIP. So like ECS, you have to type in EIP and then go for this elastic IP address. And then here we have like one EIP already purchased. So in case if you want to buy one, so you can click on create EIP and go for pay as you go and buy that. But in case if you want to use this EIP, let's say it's 8.222.160, I will go to this ECS instance console and click on to the instance, and then I have a space for associating the EIP. So I click on to this associate EIP, and then it will ask the EIP which I need to associate. I will choose that EIP, confirm. Now I have a public IP address, that is an elastic IP address assigned with this ECS instance. Now everything is done. And now I connect to the instance. And then I click on to the sign now for the workbench. So this is to show how I can configure the ECS instance. I will enter the password. Update the software inside. So I give like apt space update. It will update the operating system. And next I want to install the Nginx server. So this is like a basic, I give a -y. So it will install the Nginx server. So now the Nginx server is also installed. So after this, I will copy the EIP which I have associated with the ECS instance. Then I paste this one, enter. I get into the server. So this is how we have the Nginx server done. Right, so it's pretty easy that we can configure an ECS instance with a web server. So in case if you want to create an image and load it into another ECS instance, then you have to create an image for that. So for that we have a different demo later. You will see on how to do it later. Now we need to play around on how to start and stop, right? So here we have the option for stop, and then you click on to these 3 dots over here. So you will see like different parameters on what all you can do. Is stopping the instance, and then after this I take this particular page and refresh. It will take a lot of time to load, and it is not loading at all because the connection is lost and the server is restarting. So then I go for this particular thing and see like it is running again, and then let's say I will copy this one. It's like it's showing error, and now it's loaded again. Now it is restarted. And then again, if you want to stop, you can click on to the stop, and then I confirm, and within a while it will stop the ECS instance. And then there is an option called the release. So for this release, it is used to delete, but by accidental release you may lose the data. So we have another demo for this on how to save the system from accidental release. Now I have done the stop, right? So I need to start. So I can click on the start over here, or I can click on to the start over here. So whichever is possible, I will do it here. So I click on to start and then confirm. So now it is starting the ECS instance. So we have played around with this ECS instance, and we got to see like how we can work on to this ECS instances. So we know how to start, how to stop, and how to restart, and how to enter into the workbench, do the configurations, and configure the ECS instances with the public IP address or EIP. So with the end of this demo, you have learned on how to manage all these actions with the ECS instances. So this is what you have learned so far. So let's get to the next topic. Now this is the last part on how to optimize the performance and the cost efficiency of the ECS instances. So here in this part, we will be learning more in detail about how to identify the duration of usage and decide on the payment plans, and then to limit the bandwidth usage and the storage capacity based on the needs. And then you can have the usage of load balancers to regulate the traffic, and then the usage of auto scaling to provide on-demand computing. And finally, we keep a vigil on the services using the servers in the pay-as-you-go. So why we need to worry about pay-as-you-go? In case by mistake, if you didn't stop the ECS instance and you run it for a few days and you really don't do anything with the server, you need to pay for the usage. So you need to keep an eye on it. So in case if you have like an on-demand computing, you need to use auto scaling to upgrade the number of servers, and you can revert it back when the demand goes down. And next, if you have like a multiple servers, how to regulate the traffic. So for that purpose, we have the load balancers, which will regulate the incoming traffic and share it with the other ECS instances. Finally, we have the limitation of the bandwidth usage and the storage capacity and all those. So for this, we have some demo. So in this demo, we have like the first thing we see on using the cloud monitor to show the performance of the monitoring. And next, we prevent the accidental human error using the delete protection mechanism. Thirdly, we see the vertical scaling by changing the specifications of the server. And fourthly, we replace the operating system itself, and then we change and replace the storage, and then we create some snapshots and create the load and with the custom images. So for this seventh part, we have this creation and loading of the custom images, right? So for this part, we will be seeing on firstly create the custom image, and then it will take some time to load the image. So we will firstly do the seventh one, and then we'll go with the parameter one. So let's get into the demo now. Okay, now we have the ECS instance. So here we have not connected with a public IP or like an elastic IP, so we have just on a private IP address allocated. So this cannot connect to the internet directly. But I have the server and everything installed. So firstly, I want to create an image. So I go to this three dots over here. You can search for like the create custom image over here, or you can go inside the instance and then you can go for like create custom image. So here we have the image ID, we have this custom image over here. So click onto this and then I name it mastering ECS, and then I click onto OK. I'm doing this in the beginning because it will definitely take some time. So meanwhile, we'll do some other operations and come back to this. Okay. So next, we go into the images and we see like the mastering ECS image is getting created, and then I go to the instances. I have the instance over here. I have given as master ECS, and next here we have like association of EIP. So we need to have an internet access. So click on to this associate EIP. We don't have any EIP at this moment, so I'm going to purchase one. So we go to the console of elastic IP addresses and then click on create EIP, and then we go for pay as you go and select Singapore. That's the region closest to me, that's why I'm choosing it. And then we go for all the parameters are okay, and then buy now. And we click on activate, and then after that the EIP is created. I refresh this page. So the EIP is created. So this is the EIP which we have. And and then we have in this ECS console, I select the EIP, so we have it now, and then click on confirm. So then I click on to this one, and then I select this one to go into this IP address, go to this, so it opens the web page. So it is perfectly running. So this web server I installed into this ECS instance, and next ECS instance, if I create, I'm not going to install this Nginx. So that's the reason why I'm creating the image. So that's how we use the EIPs. So this one is now associated with the resource. I refresh this. The IP status is allocated and it is associated. And next, we need to look on to the disaster management. In this ECS instance, if I go to this more operations and you see this release, so to prevent that, we have the option of enable release protection. So you click on to this enable release protection and then you click on to OK. So the release protection is enabled. And then you click on to this, you see that release is disabled. So if you give it to your team with the release protection enabled, they will not be able to delete by accident. To delete it really, they need to disable the release protection and then go for the release. Okay, now we will go for some configurations. So we go for the instance type if you want to change it totally, or like you want to change some configurations. If you want to go from the general type instance, so this is like a general type G7, right? 7th generation general type. Then you can go for the other type like the memory optimistic and everything. You can go for that one. But for just changing the configurations, let's see here. The specifications here is like 2 cores and 8 gigabyte. But I want to have 4 cores and 16 gigabyte. So how to change this? So you can click on to this change configuration over here, or you click on to this and go down to this change configurations over here. And then here you have like the change instance types, and then click on to continue. And then here you can choose the new instance type. I want 4 vCPU and 16 gigabyte, right? So I just choose this one. It will have an estimation of cost, and then we click on to stop instances and proceed. And then I click on to confirm. So it will stop the instance and rerun the instance, which will mention like it has done already. So it will take some time. So we will wait for a while and come back. Okay, now it's all done. I click on to start instances and rerun. Then I confirm this. So here it shows us 2 cores 8 GB, right? But we have got it like 4 cores and 16 gigabyte. I refresh the page. And then you see 4 cores and 16 GB. And now it is starting the operating system. It will take a while for relaunching the operating system, which is having inside. Okay, so now it's gone. Next I refresh this. This is also perfectly running. So there is no problem, no interference when you are changing the configuration. In case if you want to change the operating system itself, what to do? So here we have the change configurations, and then we have the images which we have taken, and we have like the snapshots where to go for the operating systems. So we need to look for the operating systems to change here. So here we have the operating system which is listed as Ubuntu 24.04 64-bit. So here you have to click on to the change. So for this, firstly you need to stop the ECS instance, because you notice here it is mentioning like unreplaceable system disk, because the operating system is running from that disk. So you need to click on to stop and then confirm. So once it is completely stopped, it will let you do. Then we click on to this, I am aware of proceeding the risk and want to continue. Now you see it shows like a replaceable system disk, and then I continue to replace the operating system, and then I choose the public image. I choose the custom image, or like let's say I will go for another operating system in the public image. I'll go with Alibaba Cloud Linux, and the version is like the latest one, and then I choose the same thing. Password, I will give a password for this. Check this one and then confirm. So it is asking to go to the management console. Earlier when I have the instance, it was having Ubuntu, right? Now I go to the management console and show you this is the Alibaba Cloud Linux. I will refresh this page and show you. Just see the operating system. Now it shows Alibaba Cloud Linux. And then for the EIP, you can bind and unbind also. Now I don't want this EIP to be bound with this ECS instance. So I click on to unbind, and I'm aware of the cost and the risk, and click on confirm. So you are able to unbind it now. So after unbinding, there is no EIP added. So in the public IP address, there is nothing. So I go to the instance, see there is nothing over here. Next, I'm going to create another ECS instance with the image which is created. So earlier we created the image, this mastering ECS. With this image, I'm going to create. You can click on create instance from here to do it, or you can go to this instance and click on create instance, and then click on pay as you go, choose the VPC, and then I choose the zone A. Previously I did it with zone B, right? So next, in the custom image over here, I will choose the image which I created, this mastering ECS. I selected this, and then the hard disk I will go for 20 GB. So in case if I want to have additional disk, I can create it over here. And then I don't want the assigning the public IPv4 because I have the EIP already. Select the security group, and then I go with the image password preset because I don't want to change the password. I'll go with the same password which is stored earlier, and then I give a name in the advanced settings, ECS master 2. This is the instance which I create, and then I click on create order. So the ECS instance is getting created. So here I refresh this. So this is creating, and now I have to associate the IP address with this one. So I will click onto this, and then here we have the public IP address. You have associate EIP, and then you choose the EIP which you have here, confirm. It is done. So we have the EIP which is allocated. So I just select it and go to this IP address. It will have to load the system. So for that I go into the console, connect, sign in now, the password. So here I will give like systemctl start nginx. So this will start the service, and then after this if you go here and refresh this page, you should be able to get this one. Let me check here. Like we have the EIP which is added now. And let me check the protocol. So it is having the HTTPS. So I gave it with the HTTP protocol. That's why it is opening now. So you are able to get it. So I have shown you on how to change the configuration, change the operating system, and then to manage the images. So in case if you don't want the image, you go to this images, you select this one, and then you delete the image. If you want to delete the snapshots also, you can do it. I forcefully delete this, and then I confirm. And next, we need to see how efficiently the instances are working. So we have this thing called as monitoring. So here, if you click on to this, along with the instance, we have this one. So we have this view monitoring details. It will open the cloud monitor to show what are all happening here. Like you have the basic monitoring, OS monitoring, and then the network monitoring, process monitoring. So this will show you how to manage all these things. So you will be able to monitor, and it will help you to manage a lot of things. And next, we will go for to look for another option on, like, if you want to reset the instance password, you can use this one. And then in case if you want to change the security group, you can change this. Or if you want to switch to subscription, you can do it over here. And now we see like the enabling of release protection, right? So the previous instance, I want to remove it. So it is not letting you do, because it is having the release protection. So I disable this release protection, click OK, and then I will be able to see this release. I delete this. So after this, I will be able to delete it. So this is how you can protect the ECS instances from accidental deletion. Now we have done with the delete protection one for this one. We are done. And now we need to add some hard disk or like extra storage. So we click on to this. So here we have the storages, like we have the block storage. So here we have to create a new disk, or you have to click on to create a cloud disk. We have to attach to the ECS instance also. We go with the pay as you go, and I need 100 gigabytes. Let's create it. It's creating the cloud disk. It will take some time to create the ECS disk, and it will automatically attach with the ECS instance. And I don't want to partition and format, so I just go to the data list. So we have it already connected. Now I go to the instance details. So here you can see like this will not release the disk with the instance. So in case if you want to have it done, then you have to modify the attributes. So you can click on to release the disk with the instance. So when you delete the ECS instance, this disk will also delete. Why I am specifying this is because if you have some storage, you need to delete it when the ECS is released. Because if you don't do that, what happens is that it will go like charging your storages. If you even if you stop, or like if you stop the ECS instance, it will not cost your ECS charges. But when it comes to the storage, it will do the payment for the storages. So it's better you delete the storages. So here I click on to confirm. So we have given like the release the disk with the instance. So when I delete the ECS instance, it is going to delete the cloud disk also. And even you can click on to the monitoring over here, and here also you can check the cloud monitor options. So it will show the visualizations. And then the security groups, you have it over here. And then the block storage I mentioned. Snapshots, if you want to take a snapshot, you can click on to create the disk snapshot. You can click on to the disk, like which disk you want to create, and then you click on OK, it will create one. And then these are all the various operations available with ECS instances. So with this demonstration, I have given you enough information on how to master this. Now, how we can remove all these stuff, like we have got the server running. This is perfectly running. Now I want to release the ECS instance. I go to the instance and then I click onto this. So I disable the release protection and then click OK, and then I go to the release again. So everything will be released now, but this EIP is not getting released. So what I am supposed to do, I will go as usual to release this. I close this and then I go to the EIP's page. So here it is still remaining. So it is disassociated from the EIP. So then I click on to select this one and release it. So it is also deleted. So now the EIP is gone. So we don't need to worry about the EIP. So then the ECS instance is also removed. So then we have like no ECS instance in Singapore right now. So this will show like how you can manage the ECS instances more effectively. So I have given all the information. So with this you will be equipped. You can go to some free instances. You can go to a website named as alibabacloud.com/free. So this one. So here, if you have like the core free tier products, you can have some ECS instances for free. So you can have like this 1C, 1G, 5th generation instance for free. You can use it for 1 year. And then we have the Elastic Desktop, this one for 1 month. So this one you have the 8th generation. Right now we have like the 9th generation, but here you have the 8th generation for free. And then if you want to search for the products for the computing, you can see that these are all the ECS instances available right now. So you can choose from these and then you can try to use it. So this is how you can get it, the server free from Alibaba Cloud. In case if you are a student and your university is into our partner network in the Alibaba Cloud Academic Empowerment Program, you can contact your faculty advisor to talk to our team to get the free ECS instances. And then we have like something like the always free also available. So you can check for this one. So with the referral over here, so you can check all the products which are available. So you have like PolarDB and many products which are available. So you can check on to them. That's all about the demo for this mastering ECS instances. So we are done with it. So coming to the end, thank you so much for joining our public class on mastering ECS instances. So I have given enough information to enable you to not just creating the ECS instances, but to manage the ECS instances with enough parameters to configure and save your cost and customize your ECS instances based on your requirements. So I have to remind you to please take the QR code which is displayed on the right hand side. You please scan this QR code to take the certification, and also we recommend you to please go on to check out all our public classes. So let me show on how to go for this particular public class details. So you just need to log on to our website. Just go to a new tab and type edu.alibabacloud.com. So here you have this training tab. You have the trainer-led classroom, and go to the free online live classroom. So here in this section, every month we have like some new courses listed. So you can select the course and click on to register. So we welcome you to attend all our public classes. We are going to roll out new and new courses from the next few